Yo, hello. Good evening, midday, night, whatever, depending on where you are. Hope you guys are doing well. It's been a while. And for that, I apologize. Before we start the show, before I forget it, big shout out to Woo for sponsoring it. Really appreciate their support. Go check them out, links are in the description. They've been amazing partners. And they actually even made a fucking, I don't know if you guys saw this, but they got in on the fun. In roasting me. Oh, Wednesday came fast. Dude, it didn't come fast, it just took a while. It just took a while. Look at that. Fucking Woo guys. Fucking roasting me. Can't believe it. Anyway, they're cool people, so yeah, appreciate their support. Even though they don't support me with this. Is what it is. Doug is wild on Twitter. He's so fucking cute. I'll take it. I'll take being cute. Well, internet's shit today. So if it should lag, if it should do anything, just watch the recording. Sorry about that. The recording's gonna be just fine. Hope you're doing fine. Yeah, I'm doing great. I've actually been, it might not seem as such, but I'm actually enjoying my time. Like, this has been the funniest, most fun I've had on Twitter in a long time. So yeah. GG Don, good call on shorting memes. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And that one turned out quite nice. Hi Don, what's up baby? Hey Delta, good to see you. Don, if Bitcoin breaks up 68k, your gut macro top will be changed. There's a good chance that it will go higher than, yeah. I think above 68, like we can talk about like objectively looking at this thing and not objective, and then just you guys figure out whatever you prefer. So yeah, let me quickly put these on different time frames. So we have the monthly here. Monthly looks perfectly fine. We talked about this in the last few weeks. It hit support. It was weak for a while, but it bounced, and quite substantially so. So this isn't the worst time frame. Just generally just bounced from support, starting to rally into resistance, but that resistance is kind of shit. It's just the all-time high, like the previous all-time high. So the monthly, not that bad, looks quite good. There's really no setup on the monthly that you can take. Like sometimes, for example, in here, you'd be like, hey, I can long this box and then target next resistance, right? Here it's a little bit more rough because, I mean, yes, you can long this box and you can target next resistance, but there's really none. So it's a little bit tougher. But that is what we have the weekly time frame for. Or just generally, I mean, price discovery is really hard to TA. You know, just like you hold on. Like if this makes new all-time highs, you just hold on and hope you get the exit right. But no TA is gonna help you in finding the exact Pico top when price is in price discovery. The weekly time frame that has ran into resistance. It's not too strong resistance, but it is there. It's basically this cluster that we had that we put in on the all-time high. It's a little bit of a retest there. That said, like it's not that bad of a bounce. This support got tested 1,000,000 times, right? And I was honestly expecting it to, like, I wasn't too surprised that it bounced. I'm surprised that it went quite high. Like I didn't think it would go this high, because I mean it tested support. It's always possible to bounce. That support has been tested a lot though. So if we get back there now after this bounce, especially like after you get a show of strength like this, I'm like 99% sure it's gonna break, right? That said, as long as it hasn't, this is still bullish-ish. It's just the nearest support that we have, and I would say this is 60K is really shit. So if anything, like if this weekly closes and you want to be bullish, I think you have to kind of consider like the 63K level as your last line of defense. But I'll say, like I'll tell you why I dislike that on the daily time frame. But basically, this momentum has to keep up, and it has to go and break 69 on the weekly time frame, and then it actually looks quite good pretty much immediately. It's just the objective side of things. So objectively, it bounced from support where it should have. Support held, it bounced, doesn't look that bad. Little bit less objectively, in my opinion, is that we have now very weak support below us, and we're rallying kind of into resistance, but it's not the best resistance, and the market has still been bullish, so you can make up your own mind on that. The high time frame is really not that bad. Like, it's just not that bad of a chart. The daily time frame, and I think this is the most usable one, which is really nice, right? Because I'm basically saying like, hey, these high time frames, they're actually not that bad, and they're like quite bullish. But we have the daily time frame, and I think it's a little bit in the same situation as the weekly, where we have this support that got tested over and over and over again. We even got disrespected the support twice, right? But that's the only support we have before 52K. And given it is so weak, I think you can have like a pretty neat kind of trade setup here, where you can be like, if you want to be bullish, obviously if you don't want to be bullish, you don't have to be, but if you want to be bullish, you can be bullish unless we lose the nearest support right now, which is 65. If we close below there, there's really no good support left besides the 60K one, and that's been tested a billion times. So this one you really don't want to bet on. So like if you want to be bullish, basically 65K has to hold. If you want to be bearish, you can obviously just be like bearish whenever you want to be, or you can be bearish if we lose that level, right? So basically lose 65, the bulls look incredibly weak in my opinion. Basically it just looks like we got a squeeze from support. And then I think the next support would be 60, and I think at that point that would fail, and then you head lower. And if you want to be bullish, like I said, you can be bullish right now. That is, I think, the more, like if you're more partial and not biased, I think it's the TA, like TA wise, it's the better position to be in. Just if you ignore everything else, if you ignore what the meme's been doing, like all that kind of shit. If you just look at Bitcoin, I think that just makes sense. What you can do, right, and I think this is kind of the situation we're in right now, like if you're not entirely sure and you're like, yeah, I don't want to be bullish right now, but I also don't want to be bearish, I think you can also just be bullish above 68.5. So basically, like the moment this breaks out and starts closing above 68.5, looks really strong at that point. If it loses 65, that looks really weak. And in between here, given it did reclaim 65, I think the non-biased way to look at it is just being bullish, and the biased way of looking at it, and that is kind of the one that I have, is doubting that this is actually gonna do much. I think I'm gonna be more convinced if 68K gets closed above. Can you go a little deeper into your fund account on Woo? What do you want to know? What does your gut tell you Bitcoin wise? I think it's there's a good chance that this is so basically that we had that we had a range that was distribution. We broke down, and this is basically the complacency top. That's kind of my gut feeling. Like we're gonna round out here somewhere, and then we're gonna head lower, break down, and then maybe even have a secondary leg into where the ETF got approved. I think that'd be a nice retest. That's what my gut feeling is, but I could be very, very wrong on that. That's why, like, I'm like telling you both sides, because I mean I can look at the TA and be objective about it. I mean the TA is objective just generally. It always kind of depends on how you look at the market and kind of what you think the market's gonna do. So yeah, those are the two sides. Like TA wise, you lose 65, that looks really bad. You break out above 68, that looks really good. And that's pretty much it. You sold your Doge? Yeah, I did. I was like, the whole meme thing, we'll talk about it once we're done with Bitcoin and like maybe ETH. We'll talk about the meme thing. Might your bearish bias change if we hit 52K? I mean, we'll see how price trades, if it goes higher or lower. Into your trades, so this is in accordance to, like Finn asked about my Woo account, which for the people that don't know, I've made a Woo account to kind of just be like showing some trades, whatever. Just a public trade, like a public account that people can look at. Right now it's actually not public because people were actually just blindly copy trading it, and it started being annoying. Not only because it is not the fun, like it's not fun if people just straight up copy trade you, but also because there's only so much liquidity to be had. So I don't want to necessarily compete with other people. So I made it not private. I made it private, but I'll make it non-private at some point again. Anyway, and Finn asks why I have like 30 plus trades in the last few days. It's just because I had to basically, like I was shorting memes and the liquidity just isn't there. Just generally, like the meme market is like and I struggled with this a lot. So basically, we can go over the memes right now. I mean, we talked about Bitcoin. Basically, I'm bearish memes, most of them anyway. And yeah, people pissed me off on Twitter. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do the old thing and short the market again. I don't usually do it because I think it's a little bit of a waste of time. Like it takes too much time. The reward is limited because I mean, at the end of the day, if something goes down 100%, you make 100%, but that's it, right? So let's say you short with you short $100 worth of width, right? If it goes to 0, you make $100. Well, if you long with a dollar and it goes to 10 with the same amount, you make so much more money, right? So basically, like the short side is kind of scuffed always. It's usually not something I do, but people pissed me off, and I was like, might as well put my money where my mouth is and short these things. And so I did. I shorted WIF and Pepe. I also shorted Bonk, but that I closed pretty early on. And I actually shorted a few more on various exchanges because liquidity just kind of sucked. So I just shorted pretty much everywhere I could, where I was not too much of the open interest and not too much of basically I wouldn't cost too much slippage. And that has so far worked out quite well, with being my most public one. Pepe is also, like I said, one. Yeah, that went quite well. For like what I did there basically. And are you reading any comments, dude? I'm answering to the comments. Sorry about that. Basically, and I'll go through the comments and everything. Basically, what I did with WIF, and we talked about this, right? Like I talked about this on the show a bunch. I talked about like when we hit the high and then we retraced, I was like, this is dangerous because it can easily set a lower high. We talked about this on the show. I was like at 3, 4, I was like, this actually doesn't look that good. And then it nuked, right? From there all the way to range low. And I was like, you have to reclaim 3.2 for this to actually look decent again. We did for a short while, but I was fudding this too. And I was like, false breakout. It was a false breakout. We retested the range high, right? Like this thing here, this silly little line. And I was like, I'm gonna, like, this looks shit. So I tweeted about it, and the WIF people on Twitter went completely and utterly nuts on me. Were like, oh, fuck you. You suck, whatever. And I was like, okay, fuck yeah, I'm just gonna short it. So I shorted that, shorted the range high, which was 315. I got an average about like around 3.1-ish. And so far it's broken down, right? And this is in stark contrast to, like, this has been the last 4 days, right? Down only. This has been the stark contrast to what Bitcoin's been doing. Like, Bitcoin's been up only, with very much not. So there's some clear weakness there, but there has been clear weakness for a while, right? So you have a high, you have a lower high, you have a false breakout. I mean, that's the trinity of looking shit. So yeah, that's that. That's with it's approaching support. I'm not planning on like closing the short. It is like, one, it's not really about the money for me. Don't really care. But also two, I think there's a good chance it breaks the range. So basically, I think a good chance it does something like this. And then if it's bullish and memes catch a second wind, I think there's a chance that it comes back up. But if not, maybe this just dies out. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have any extra info on any of these. I just have like one decent trade, and it's not even that like insane. The only reason why everyone talks about it is because Bitcoin went up infinite percent and these went down only, which makes it very, very apparent that they went down. Bro ignored the 900% rally on WIF but caught 20% short. I think it's actually quite a bit more than 20%, but I could be wrong. I haven't looked at it in a while. Actually, not that much. 20, 22, 20, whatever, at the highest. Yeah, but I mean, like, the thing is, like, I don't really care about trading these, right? Like, I trade Bitcoin, I trade ETH, and it's like so much nicer to trade them. And I actually have edge in those, and I don't have to use my following to pump them up. I just like to kind of do my thing. The only reason why I'm shorting it right now, like I said, is because I was like, fuck these people. Like, I mean, this is a good short setup. People are so fucking angry. Like, just with sentiment alone, I was like, this is almost always gonna happen. Like, you have a good short setup and you have this kind of sentiment where people cannot fathom you even mentioning that this could go down, even though the chart looks like shit. Yeah, I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. So basically, I was pretty much almost guaranteed to make money on it, and I was like, it's just gonna feel good taking the short in the face of being insulted all day. So that's why I took it. But I think it is a little bit of a waste of my time. But serious question. So you shorted memes because people pissed you off on Twitter, or that plus you actually think the top for them is in? I actually think like most of these memes, the top is already in. I think like for WIF, there's a good chance that 4.8 was the top, at least for quite a while. Now, I wouldn't have shorted these if I didn't think it was a good setup. Obviously, like, that's just silly. Like, if you're just like, oh, fuck it, fuck these people. But the thing is, when people get completely and utterly stupid, right, and they can only see the upside and not the downside, then you get like really, really high expectancy kind of swing trades. And if you remember back, like, if you think back when I was trading at 16k Bitcoin, I had the exact same comments, right? When I was like, this actually doesn't look that bad. Like I was like, FTX imploded and it's only down 10%, right? Like when we're trading down here, I was like, yeah, this sucks. But this FTX implosion, like you would have thought that the market goes to zero, but it didn't. So there was clearly demand there. And I was like, I mean, you just kind of have to buy this at this point, right? And then I got so much shit. So I was like, okay, I had a bunch, like I bought a bunch, but then I was like, I have to size this up. Like this is prime, like this is just free money basically, because too many people were on the short side, too many people were on the pessimistic side. And all of those people are interested in crypto, but they didn't buy it. Like the only reason why you would kind of like be so upset at someone at saying like, hey, this is actually not that bad of a bullish setup is because either you sold and you really don't want it to go higher, you want it to go lower so you can rebuy lower, because a lot of people sold the FTX news, right? Or you're short. And then if there's no one left to sell, well, I mean, where's the market going to go when you have all of these eyes on crypto and all of these eyes, but no one has any, and the market is holding up, right? So I was like, this has to go up. So I sized up, it went up. With the memes, right? I looked at it the opposite way. I was like, hey, everyone keeps talking about this. The chart looks kind of shit. Who the fuck hasn't bought this yet? Like, there's a limited amount of retards to be able to be buying these, right? And there's only so much. There's only so many people that you can sucker into this, unless you get retail back involved, right? Because retail's been kind of missing this cycle. So it's like, this is all crypto natives, and all the crypto natives seem to be in already, and they're like really fucking angry that I'm like talking badly about memes. German internet, yeah, I have. We have guests, so whenever we have guests, the internet just fucking sucks. So that's why, like, for the people that are kind of like refreshing whatever, that's why I said you can just wait. Sorry to put you through this, kind of sucks. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna see if I can like make it so that I have a separate internet from everyone else in the house, because we do have guests quite a bit, and then it just nukes it. You always have guests? Yeah. I mean, it's a big house, so might as well, you know. Anyway, that's that. I was like, this is like the meme thing is like there's way too many people in memes, and I think there's very little amount of people that would be willing to buy memes. And then the last thing, right, is we have just infinite amounts of new memes every single day, right? So even if you have like, this is the pool of people, right, that are willing to dump into memes, right? Like if you have 3 memes, I mean, yeah, that's gonna pump these, right? But what we have now is that like every single day you get like 1,000, or like some days we had like 10,000 new memes coming in, and yeah, these are like small market cap, whatever. But people take their money and either don't buy these 3 or 4 or 5, the ones that people trade. They don't buy these; they buy something else. And then those coins rug pull, take profit. The devs of those coins buy themselves like a new car or whatever, and that money leaves the ecosystem, right? So you basically you avoid the ones that everyone keeps talking about, because just like everyone talks about different ones now, and it's suddenly not only 3, but it's like now it's 8, and then it's 10, and then it's 15, right? So at the beginning of the meme coin cycle, we were talking, like, people were talking about WIF, people were talking about Pepe, people were talking about Bonk, right? And then now was basically it, and there was a few small other ones. And now people have 1 million memes. And what happens is basically a bunch of people that are in memes, they rotate out of their, like, whatever, the old meme, and go into a newer one, all that kind of shit. takes away from the buying power. And the underlying value of these things is obviously zero, right? Like they're not even pretending to be doing anything. So just kind of seems like an easy trade. At the end of the day, it was. It's getting quite close to support. So that's one thing. And you definitely should not, like, if you're copy trading me on this, I mean, if you got in at the range high, do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's pretty, like that trade is pretty easy at this point, because I think if it comes back above here, it starts looking much better, and then it wouldn't really make sense to expect lower, right? But if you short it here, this seems like a decent target, and then if you think this entire thing is gonna collapse, lower. Why are you hating on the market? So what memes can have their own market? Real projects are also shit. Yeah, I mean, I'm not... Dude, it's so fucking funny. People are so upset at me for saying these things. It's insane. I mean, obviously, like most of the stuff in the market is garbage, right? We all agree on that. I'm just saying memes don't even have the excuse of not being garbage. Like you have like something like ADA, like it's covering, like the people that hold it have the, like they think that this is gonna change the world one day, right? So if they only hold it long enough, you will have Charles Hopkinson, whatever, how you pronounce his last name. Whatever, I'm not even gonna try. He's gonna come in and he's gonna make his vision come true, and that's that. And they have that. If you're trading if you're holding your Pepe or your WIF, you don't have that. You just straight up, you don't have that. The moment the attention goes away, like what kind of excuse do you have to hold it? So Hoskinson, yeah, whatever. So people are really upset, and it's good. Like it makes me, like, my conviction is like it's so much easier to hold these this way. But yeah, basically it showed it with at resistance. I think like the problem with shorting is like even if your target is low, like your profit that you're gonna make is quite limited. So I think generally, like if you want to copy trade anything I do, it shouldn't be shorts. I think that's a little bit silly. I'm doing this out of just because it's gonna feel good to take money from people that shit talk me. And with Pepe, pretty much, I was like, I think WIF is gonna go down, and I think memes are gonna go down. They seem just like a bad investment / just in general, like they just seem so oversubscribed. So I looked at Pepe, and I looked at WIF, right, and I tried to short as much as I could, but I couldn't. Like there's really, like there's not that much WIF to go around without absolutely destroying the market. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna short as much as I can find, and then I'm gonna move on to something else. And the next thing where I was like, this can get a short setup in the near future if my meme thesis plays out, was Pepe. And so I could basically just add on to, because I wasn't satisfied with the size that I had in WIF. So I was like, I'm just gonna short Pepe too. The reason why is because basically, and I mean, you can see this on my Twitter, it's not like I'm making this up. The reason why was basically because we had this breakout here and it was quite weak. Bitcoin was rallying and I could see Pepe not doing shit, right? Like Pepe really couldn't move up while Bitcoin was rallying. It was struggling big time with the rally, and I was like, okay, there's actually like a good chance that people are rotating out of this, or that just cannot find a bid, and I'm just gonna pile into this too. Shorted this. I actually don't know exactly where. Here, I think. Yeah, exactly here, actually. Shorted this here. I was like, low time frame, this was a failed breakout in the making. High time frame, it wasn't yet, right? Like just looking at the daily, it was still above, but it looked like it was gonna go. I shorted that, it went down. Now it's back in the range. The range low is down here. There's quite a bit of downside left, but obviously this can find a bit sooner. If I'm wrong on the meme thing. But I think generally the memes, there's a good chance that the meme names that we have around right now are gonna underperform newer memes. And I think there's a good chance that they're just generally gonna be weak going forward. So yeah, people are fucking angry though. This is fucking hilarious. Like, like you guys don't realize how much shit I got. Like at the end of the day, right? And at the end of the day, the only thing I said was like, hey, these things went up infinite. They're kind of not catching a bid. We all know that they're worthless, right? But because at the end of the day, and if anyone is here in the chat that doesn't think that meme coins are worthless, right? Like in 10 years, no one is going to fucking talk about whiff. Like just, you cannot, like Pepe, you can tell me like, yeah, maybe that's been like a cultural phenomenon for like a while. Like the case for Pepe is stronger, but like who the fuck's gonna talk about the third iteration of a dog meme? Like I'm sorry, that's just not how it's gonna be, right? But for some reason, people just lose their shit when you think, or like when you say like, hey, this could retrace, and I mean, it could also just completely collapse. It's crazy how much you enjoy this shit. I would hate it. I mean, I'm just like, at the end of the day, I'm just like, I look at these things and the only reason why I'm making money in shorts right now is because of these people in my comments, right? So my comments and the Twitter, like my Twitter presence has given me the best trade setups that I've ever taken. Like just generally, like the 16K trade that I took, the only reason, like it was more than double the size that I originally wanted to do, just because people gave me so good sentiment data. Like that's how valuable this is, right? So I made more than 2 times as much as I would have otherwise, and that was a really, really good trade for me, right? Like 16 to like 37 ish, with like a bunch of I caught a bunch of highs and lows in between. Like that was a really, really good trade because I basically like I went like way heavier than I normally would have. So I'm like, yeah, you give me shit, fair enough, but this is helping me in my trading, so I don't mind it too much. So the validation is anytime soon the memes will be worthless and any new meme can replace them. I mean, I'm not saying it's soon. This can take for quite a while. Like they hang around for a cycle. Like look at like old memes like Dogecoin, right? And I think Dogecoin is in a little bit of a special position because it is the first real meme coin. Like Bitcoin is the first coin, so it will always hold a special place in the crypto market. And I think Dogecoin has that too. Price action has been lackluster though, to be fair. But like if you compare Dogecoin with the memes of this cycle, this has been hilariously underperforming, right? It's been complete and utter dog shit in comparison. And your like whiff or your whatever of this cycle is gonna do less good than the new memes of next cycle. Obviously, like this is just generally like any coin from last cycle is gonna be doing worse than the good coins from next cycle. And these are all on the timer, right? So basically the longer you hold them, the more likely it is that you get completely and utterly fucked. And whether that be now or later, I don't know. Like I think it will be now. That's why I shorted it. And so far I'm right. Like I shorted this into like up here and it basically went down. But it's not like this hasn't gone down before, right? That was already even on the lower time frames, this was already like setting up. And this is the crazy thing, right? It's not like was objectively a bullish chart. Like this was objectively a very fucking bearish chart. I don't know why this was such a controversial take, but people are just blinded by their greed. So, Don, thanks for the warning, brother. You saved me 7 figures. My pleasure, my friend. My pleasure. Doge ETF, yeah. I mean, I think generally Doge is like, the thing is with Doge, you're gonna make much less, but I'm pretty certain it's not gonna go down to 0. I wouldn't really say that for any other memes. You basically don't think WIF or Pepe could reach new highs unless retail comes in? Is that basically right? Because everyone native is already in. Yeah, so basically what you would need is Bitcoin to rally to like 90 to 100K to attract retail, and then people might be retarded enough to buy these again. But I think on the way towards like Bitcoin going to 100K, and like I said at the beginning, I don't think it's going there. Like this looks and feels complacent to me. But I could be wrong on that. Like I'm not close to as high convicted on Bitcoin going down than I am on the memes, right? Like the memes seem like almost certain to me. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're too certain, it's probably not gonna play out. But like for me, like this looks really shit. But the on Bitcoin, I'm not entirely certain, right? But yeah. I think there's not enough idiots in the space left to buy these, because at the end of the day, like why are you buying memes, right? Because you want 100x, 10,000, like 1,000x. Pepe and WIF are not gonna give you that. Like you're not gonna get a 100x with WIF. I don't think even the WIF holders are targeting like $10 to like, they're like, oh, we're gonna make so much money, it's gonna go to 10. Well, like why the fuck are you holding it then? Because if you're holding a meme just for 4x, it seems like, and I mean, this is what a lot of meme people will think, like that's a little bit of a waste of time. Might as well hold something completely and utterly deranged that can do 100x. But yeah. Anyway, that's kind of like all the background on that. I hope it makes sense. I don't know if it does. Is the stream only about meme coins? Or are you going to talk about Bitcoin and like everything else too? I talked about Bitcoin at the start. Don't you have said at the end of the day like 50 times? Yeah, it's one of the ones that I cannot get rid of. Have you done Doge? Somewhat. I mean, I had it open, but I didn't look at it. I mean, Doge's been struggling, and the reason why is because other memes have been struggling, right? It's very very hard to buy a meme while a meme apocalypse is going on, right? Like everything is nuking, like stuff is down 20-30%. Why would Doge go up, right? And I think the problem with Doge is that people bypassed it to go for other memes, and the meme window, in my eyes, right? And this is very subjective. I could be completely and utterly wrong. Like, don't take my word for gospel. Just because I'm saying something doesn't mean it has to be right. It's just my feelings on the market and my view on the market, right? But I think the meme window has closed, or is very close to closing, right? I think the whole meme sector is overheated. And it might, like, if it just doesn't do anything for like a couple months, it might start like cooling off again. But right now it really feels overheated. And then like who's gonna buy a Doge into like an overheated meme sector? And you might say, hey, these things are down a bunch, like that must have taken the heat out. But I think that's not necessarily true, because I think all of these people that are all in these memes, they're in pain, right? Because it went down. But I think they didn't close. I don't think anyone really closed anything. So, like, you basically have them by the balls now. You can see the pain in the Twitter replies, people making shit up about me, like shit talking me nonstop. Like I get, like, you guys don't realize, like I get every 15 to 20 seconds, I get a tweet telling me to kill myself on Twitter for like the last 3 or 4 days. Like it's been like that nonstop. The earlier days, it was literally like, I cannot read all the comments I get and all the quote tweets because there's so many. And they're basically like, before the market dropped, it was like 90% or like 95% of like, hey dude, just kill yourself, you suck. And after the drop now, it's like 50-50, like a bunch of people basically telling me to like just shut up and disappear and whatever, and 50% of people being like, haha, this is hilarious. That's basically been it. So yeah, and it at the start it went so fast, like I got so many that I couldn't even read it. Why did you shield Doge? Because I thought it was gonna go up. I bought it and I shielded it, and then I sold it pretty much exactly where. And I even talked about selling, and I let people sell before me, and it went up a little bit after I sold too. So shouldn't be too bad on that one. I think generally it's just been going sideways, right? Like I bought it, it went up a shitload. Like look at that. Like I bought it in here, it went up a shitload, it died, I bought some more, it went up, it died, it went up a little bit. Like Doge has not been doing anything. I think you're better off like right now, like if you had any other meme coin, since I shilled Doge, you should be thanking me instead. So yeah, I don't know about Doge. I think generally Doge has a good spot because if these old memes die, if these new memes die, the old memes might like be around and attract some of these meme buyers. But I think they're more likely to just lose all their money and not go somewhere else. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm just saying, like I don't know. Dogecoin, I like it. I still think like it'd be kind of like, it feels like it should go to $1 before the market cycle ends, but so far it's been underperforming. And like I said, with the other memes being so overheated, maybe I was just wrong on that. So people doing death wishes because of meme coins, no way, really sad, not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, it's literally deranged. Like I've had so many people, and the thing is like a lot of people shit talked me and like insulted me like quite heavily, and then it nuked and they're like, haha, oops. And I'm just kind of like, dude, like the fact that no one came around and said like, hey, I'm sorry, like I just, this was not nice, is kind of shocking to me, right? Like I had big accounts, I had small accounts, everyone kind of went after me, and then the market kind of nukes by 30% and not a single word. So yeah, memes overheating. How about Solana? I was actually, and I mean this is gonna get me in hot water, but I was actually thinking about shorting Solana because that's the one that I could actually short with size because it's liquid enough, and I think there's actually a decent setup on this too. And this is not because I'm like like short everything that has anything to do with like these memes, but I do think like Solana basically had the tailwind of all these memes, and if they die out, I think that goes away. And there's a setup there, a short setup in my opinion. So you have Sol BTC, right? You are at the right shoulder of a potential head and shoulders. If this goes down because of all this meme drama and everything, right? You come back into basically very like old support, right? This supports the exact same problem that Bitcoin has, where it's like if 60K, like if you go back to 60K, it's not gonna hold. Exact same thing here. If you go back towards the support, it's not gonna hold. So that's gonna like completely collapse. So basically, what you could do obviously is just be like waiting. If this goes down, start shorting it. I generally think it's much better to just wait to long it, but just talking about setups here. But yeah, basically you have like a relatively nicely risk defined setup where it's like it needs to go up a little bit more and then you're invalidated on the short. And the target is quite wide, I think, especially with, like I said, the meme struggling. And Solana USD is pretty much kind of same deal, where if it's gonna go down, it would be somewhere here, right? Like bounce from support, rally back into resistance, and resistance is here. And then you have like on both sides, you have like you're wrong above these highs. Your target on Solana, I think if this fails, is below 100. So like somewhere down here, if not all the way down this spot, right? So I was like, maybe I'll just take this trade too, because I'm not quite satisfied with how much I got in the memes, but I don't know. I haven't really made up my mind yet on this one. So that's the Solana. Like I think there is a trade there. There's a good chance it won't work, but the risk to reward is quite nice, and the backdrop of the memes kind of like nuking. And I mean, they have, look at this, like Pepe not doing so well. It's kind of like been moving lower and lower and lower. I mean, Pepe is not on Solana, but with same deal, right? Like struggling. There's an infinite amount of other meme coins on Solana that have been struggling, right? So at the moment, I think the reason why Solana has been holding up so well in the last few days is basically because you had a bunch of people going from memes into Solana because they're like, fuck this, price action memes is weak, let me get into Solana. But if you don't get the meme flows, the market quickly disappears. And if you want an example for this, I actually really like, and even if this is not the top right, there's something that you can look at. I really like, and this is something I commented on in 2017-18, right? So basically, here in this cycle, I like to kind of compare these two. So basically, Solana and the Solana meme coins. What you have to do is you have to buy Solana. So you have whatever, you have USD, and you have to buy Solana to get into meme coins, right? Meme. And this is not how it works for almost anything else in the market anymore. Like this is how it works for Solana right now, and this is how it used to work for Bitcoin, right? And for other memes, or like not memes, for other coins in 2017-18. You would have to take your USD, you would have to buy Bitcoin, and you would have to buy memes or other altcoins with it, right? So this is how it used to be in 2017, 2018. It's very, very similar, right? So I think if you're gonna get like I think you would get very similar kind of price action on these. As in, like, you get like this whole like incredible alt season. I think that's kind of what's been happening on Solana with the meme coins, leading into the cycle top, whatever. And I think actually just looking even at the chart, right, is something that I looked at in the last few days. And the reason why I was interested in the Solana short in the first place is because you look at this, look at how it topped, and you look at Solana on the weekly time frame, not on the weekly, on the daily time frame, right? So you basically did this whole, like, you have like your range up here, same kind of deal where you had a range. In Bitcoin you got the breakout, and Solana, like, and then you get the breakdown, you get a bunch of fuckery in here, and then you get the move up, right? And that was the complacency shoulder. And that's where in Bitcoin, where the altcoins started dumping for Bitcoin, right? And then the entire thing, like, that just imploded. And I think it's gonna play out like whenever, like, even if this is not the highs for Solana or for Bitcoin or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Once we're topping for this thing, it's gonna play out very similar to the 2017-18 cycle, just because they're very similar. Basically, and this is what I talked about in 2017, 2018, you attract a bunch of morons to buy something that they think is overvalued, like Bitcoin in this case. Because I mean, at this point, everyone was like, Bitcoin is fucking expensive, like 15K. But let me buy Bitcoin so I can get into memes, or like not memes, into altcoins. And you had this constant flow of money into Bitcoin, right? Like a huge flow, so they could buy altcoins. And at some point, the altcoin market got too hot, and there was like this flow just subsided. So you just have a bunch of people in altcoins. Bitcoin dumped because of it, and the altcoins just went to fucking zero, basically. And if this is not it, which I think is also very possible that it's just not it for Solana, it will play out the same. Like if Solana goes to like 500, whatever, it's going to play out the same as 2017, 2018. So yeah, could be the complacency shoulder on Solana. That's why I think like the short setup is not the worst, because at the end of the day, if you're wrong, you're gonna lose out on like $20 of price action, maybe 30, so like 20%. And if you're right, this is gonna struggle quite a bit. So yeah. But yeah, I think this is like one thing to watch. It's quite nice. It's a blast from the past, because I was very bearish. I was like, the only reason why this is holding up in this range is because people need to buy Bitcoin to buy altcoins. And then the moment that flow subsides, everything's just going to topple, right? And I think it's it's a very similar way of kind of like trading. And it was the same with NFTs on ETH last cycle. So, yeah. I don't get it how the strongest coin sold didn't even make new all-time highs if this is cycle top. So in regards to that, right? Like I mean, I've talked a lot, and I don't want to FUD anyone out of whatever. I could be completely wrong, and could be like, I mean, like I'm literally the only person that looks at this and is like, this could be the cycle top. So it's not like this is like common wisdom or whatever. This is just me, like a random dude, right? Like it's not like I have eaten all the wisdom in the world with like I'm not the smartest guy in the world. There's much smarter people than me, right? I just look at this thing and I'm like, oh, I mean, it's getting a little bit wild. And the reason why I think maybe this cycle wasn't as much as other people thought, is because it's a little bit of a forced rally, right? Like we got quite a bit higher, quite a bit faster than we would have without the ETF, right? So if this digested for a while and then started ramping up a little bit more, I think this cycle would have played out differently. But now that we have the ETF, it's just gonna play a little bit. Like I think this entire move is basically the whole ETF narrative plus ETF buying. And if we go higher, that's still going to be the case, right? So all of this is, and I mean, technically speaking, we're trading down here, right? Like this is where the ETF narrative set in, like from 27 all the way to 70,000. Like this is all kind of like a push for the ETF, right? And that's obviously going to impact prices further down the line. Like if you teleport up, the cycle is just going to play out different. Doesn't have to be more bearish, doesn't have to be more bullish, just going to play out different. Bro, your track record says otherwise. Yeah, but I mean, it's at some point I'm just going to come to an end, you know? And like one argument I keep getting, right, from everyone is that the feds have to do this, it's an election year, whatever. Read through my goddamn comments at 16K, because people are like, why the fuck would it go up? This makes no sense. People are like, we just had the greatest money inflows into crypto ever. And I'm sure you guys, like at least some of you remember this, right? So basically people are like, we just had the COVID rally, the biggest influx of money ever. Why the fuck? And now we have FTX imploding. We like people are unsure about Binance, whatever. People are like, why? Like the macro is so bad. Crypto is so bad. Why the fuck would it go up? Makes no sense, right? And I was like, dude, this is just like the market is telling me that this is strong, and I'm buying it because I don't really give a fuck about all of these reasons because you guys don't understand what the fuck you're talking about, and I don't understand what the fuck you guys are talking about because one, you're not making any sense. Two, this is not the area of expertise that you guys should be focusing on, right? Because it's not like you're like a macro expert at all. The only thing that you might be an expert in is crypto, and even there it's quite limited. But all the comments basically were like when I was like when I was talking about like 16K down here being a good buy, all my comments were like, this is just dumb, like it makes no sense, don't listen to this guy because macro. And well, the prices went up. So I'm not saying this has to be the exact same thing, but I think just blindly relying on, yeah, it's an election year, yeah, this markets have to go up, I think is foolish. This is not how it works, right? If that is how trading would work, everyone would be rich. Now, obviously, it could like just go up. I'm not saying it cannot. Like I said, I'm much more certain in my meme thesis than I am in my Bitcoin one. But yeah, I think just think a little bit more about things rather than just being like, yeah, it's an election year, it cannot go down. Like, I think that's stupid, especially because crypto can go down without the S&P going down. Like, crypto technically doesn't have that much to do with it. 27 to 70K is ETF narrative, Cope Mordak. Dude, I was the biggest guy talking about the ETF narrative. Like, I was like, you're dumb if you're not buying this. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, it's always funny. Like when I read these comments, like this is my narrative. This, like, I was like at the lows here. I was like, if you're not buying this, you're fucking dumb, because this is obviously like, why the fuck is, like, would you not be buying it if you're gonna get bailed out by people buying the ETF? I'm not saying like, hey, this is all gonna retrace because it's the ETF, because at the end of the day, we got the ETF, right? I'm not saying this is a bearish thing and it's all gonna retrace all of that. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying most of this price action, or like a good part of it, is due to one, ETF inflows, and obviously two, front running. And then three, obviously the better narrative that crypto gets. Like, the moment you have a Bitcoin ETF, people are going to look at crypto with different eyes. Like, I really don't understand why people, why you cannot talk about reasoning behind whatever the fuck you're thinking without having people being like, oh, cope, whatever. Dude, I'm just stating what I'm thinking about. Like, whether you agree or not doesn't really matter. Like, you can disagree. I think a lot of people should disagree. Like, these are just, like I said, my thoughts, and they could be wrong. Like, I'm wrong plenty. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. I'm not pretending anything otherwise. I don't have anything to sell to you. Like, I really don't give a fuck whether you're bullish or bearish. Like, 0%, couldn't care less. I'm just talking about whatever the fuck I'm thinking. And yeah. Hey, just wanted to say thank you for your post. Saved me a bunch of money. I'm aware of how much shit you got. All good, man. All good. My pleasure. Was fun though. Like, I was just generally enjoyable. The comments on your tweets are so eerily similar to November 2022. Yeah. Like, I literally, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is insane. This is insane. Like, how similar it is. It doesn't have to play out the same. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, just because the comments are the same doesn't mean the end result has to be the same. Because like just generally, I still remember when we were trading here, like I was bullish here at 10, and actually I had a fallout with one of, like, not a friend but like an acquaintance over it. Like I was like, this is bullish, and he was like, this is bearish, and it went up, and like he got really mad, whatever. I was like bullish here, and then it went to 14k, and I was like, oh, I don't know, like if it's ready for an all-time high yet. And I got bearish here, like at 15k or something. I'm not entirely sure, and I was bearish from 15 to 20k or something. And people gave me so much shit for it, and when it broke 20, I flipped, and it went quite a bit higher. And I was wrong, and I got a lot of shit for it. So it's not just because I'm getting shit doesn't have to mean I'm right? This is not always the case. But yeah, oftentimes when I bought during COVID, I got, like during the COVID crash, I got a lot of shit. When I bought at 16k, I got a lot of shit, and I got infinite amounts of shit when I bought down here. So when I'm buying and I get shit, it's like pretty much 100% hit rate. When I'm shorting and I get shit, it's not necessarily the same. So take it with a grain of salt, but it does, like, it is quite funny how similar it is. So yeah, just let me have an opinion, my friend. Like let me talk about stuff without crucifying me immediately, because at the end of the day, like, it really doesn't matter what my opinion is. It matters what you're doing and whether you're doing well or not. And I think that's all. But yeah, I think that's enough for today. I'm tired, had a long day. Like I said, we have visitors anyway. So yeah, I think that's been enough for today. We'll be around next week a little bit more than this week, and yeah, see how that goes. But yeah, thanks for coming by. Big shout out to Wu for sponsoring the show. Like I said at the beginning, really appreciate their support. Go check them out. They do cool things, and yeah. Like I said, with the public Wu account, I might actually make it public again after this stream, just because now I'm not taking any trades. Like when I was actively taking trades, people were trying to copy trade it, and it's annoying. Now that I'm not actively taking trades anymore, you can peek at it. It's on the leaderboard, but really don't have to. It's not that interesting. I was just like, the only reason why it exists is because I was like, fuck these people that say dumb shit and don't actually trade. Let me make an account and just yeah, just show people that if they do say dumb shit, that they actually do have to back it up. But didn't really change anything. No one really does it anyway, so it's whatever. And I mean, it makes sense. Like if you're big, like I only do it because it's a small account. If it was bigger, I wouldn't. So like, I'm not shit talking anyone for not making all the trades public, because that's fucking annoying. People get really annoying. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming by. Much love. See you guys soon. Bye bye.